This is just too good. Live from the WPPJ radio studio in the banks of the Mon, this is 3PT. My name is Nick Berlansky, and I'm here with Nicholas J. Horwat.
You're
and
still
once again,
reading from the cards.
Yes, I'm reading from the cards because that's what they're there for.
I love it. Not.
See, Jordan loves it. By the way, Jordan's
I
back.
love it. Hi, guys.
How about that?
Yeah.
He's alive and well.
I am.
His ear is right next to me. I can see it. It doesn't look infected.
This one.
It's that one?
So this
that's
ear looks
probably
perfectly
why.
okay, and so does the rest of your head.
It does.
Very
It looks
balding.
Beautiful. I was a Chad Ruedel look.
He did go with the
You got to
Chad Ruedel
shave
look.
to do that, though.
No, Chad Ruedel has a little bit under. A little scruff usually.
Ooh.
But we're not going to talk about Chad Ruedel. We're going to talk about Matt Murray first. This was something I planned to talk about. That was basically the only thing I had planned to talk about up until today, and then news just started dropping on the Penguins insanely fast.
I was gonna say today was a really big news day for the Pens.
So
Can't believe I was napping for all of it.
yeah, I texted you the rundown, and you were like, "Oh, I don't know what any of this is," and I was like, "This all happened today."
I was like, what? I've been asleep, man.
So if you haven't been paying attention, or if you're not on Twitter, Matt Murray had a concussion yesterday during practice, and he is out indefinitely, which means Casey DeSmith will be taking the brunt of the starts until that is changed. I would imagine Tristan Jarry is also being called up, but yeah, Matt Murray out once again.
It's starting early this year, I guess.
Hey, get it out of the way now, and then just rock with no injuries for the rest of the year. Knock on wood.
I can agree with that statement.
Yeah, I would hope that would be relatively. I want to stay relatively healthy, but that's hard to do through an 82-game season. You already look at a bunch of players. It's not even day-to-day this year. A bunch of players are out for a month or longer.
A couple of goalies are already gone, too, actually, including Murray, obviously, like Jonathan Quick
Oh, yeah.
and Roberto Luongo, both. Luongo's
Both
more
shelled.
long-term. I think,
Really?
yeah.
I didn't see what happened to Luongo. I knew Quick got injured.
I just heard about it on the Steve Dangle podcast, and I forget what they said exactly, but it's like it wasn't like an injury, but like something just happened.
Oh,
Or
well,
like-
sort of like the Murray thing. Something just happened. It wasn't in
No,
a
but
game.
it,
It was
like-
in practice.
It wasn't in practice either. I think Jordan looks up the Jonathan Quick injury.
Sorry.
I was talking about Luongo, but
I thought you were talking about Quick. Hold up, I'll get Luongo up.
I think Luongo is just like he had some sort of like infection maybe. So
Oh.
it was like an actual like
I was gonna say
like a
there's
health thing, not an injury thing.
I've seen a couple
okay.
illnesses be put up.
Yeah.
Also, James Van Riemsdyk is going to be missing 4 to 6
Yeah.
weeks for the Philadelphia Flyers. That's a rough break for him with his old new team, I guess, since he started with the Flyers.
Certainly was not a illness.
Well, that was
He
giving
has
false
medial
information.
collateral ligament
Yeah,
in his
Luongo
right
has a
knee. No, I
sprained-
don't think that's that's not like a flu or anything. I'm not sure what you thought about that.
Maybe they were talking about something else, but
Yeah, I got you.
yeah.
Maybe he was sick too, and that's what they talked about.
Sorry. You know.
So the flu caused him.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the Matt Murray injury was actually kind of weird because yesterday you saw reports that he was not happy with the way he performed, and understandably he has not performed well the first 2 games, and that's what we're going to talk about the majority of after we discuss his injury a little bit. But he has not performed well. So what he did yesterday, they had an hour-long practice yesterday. So he was out there for the entire practice, showed no signs of concussion. And then he stayed on the ice for an extra hour after their hour-long practice was done. He was the last person on the ice
Oh no.
while every other player was gone. And even some of the media guys were leaving the locker room, and Murray was still on the ice practicing. So after yesterday, we just thought, okay, Matt Murray's practicing a lot. He had an extra hour of practice. He's committing to trying to.
Athletes do that all the time.
Yeah, athletes do that all the time. And then it comes out today that he has a concussion that he sustained yesterday. My question is, did he sustain that during the team practice, or did one of their I wouldn't want to say scrubs because I feel like Sergei Gonchar probably shot with him. Did somebody who's not actually on the team concuss him?
Boy, I hope it wasn't the second one. I hope it was more of a team one because
I don't think if he would have felt concussion-like symptoms, I don't think he would have stayed out there for an hour. Maybe for a little bit if he didn't feel it at first, but staying out there for an extra hour with a concussion,
Yeah, I'm gonna say. Probably was.
I would say he would have had to, otherwise he wouldn't have stayed out there.
who's to say he wasn't? Maybe it was after an hour and then he got something happened. He was maybe gonna try and be out there for longer. But I mean,
dude,
that's
hit his
just-
head off his locker.
I was gonna say if he's just practicing shot blocking, how's he gonna? Is just a puck to the helmet gonna give him a concussion? Depending on
It happened.
It happened last year.
the Oli
Remember?
Mata. The Oli Mata. That's
we
right.
talked about that. This is his 3rd concussion since he came up just to the Penguins.
Oh, no, it is.
He had one in the last game of the 2015 2015 or 16
16.
season going into his first playoffs against Philadelphia.
Mhm.
And then he had one last year in practice when Mata hit him in the head with a shot, and he had one yesterday, which was also in a practice situation. So this is going to be his third concussion
Which
in the
is
NHL.
Oh boy.
certainly
That's
a,
substantial.
it's a problem. Um,
And this one, we don't
So-
know how long he's going to be
So
out.
then that's probably good that they're taking this one as indefinitely.
Yeah,
and
they're
not
going to
giving
take
a
it his time, and
timetable.
probably he's probably, I would imagine, going to get tested several times over before he's even allowed to put the mask on again.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if he plays in October again.
well,
I could see that.
Yeah.
As just because it's somebody who's repeatedly had
yeah.
head injuries.
Yeah.
And none of these games right now
After-
are going to matter.
After everything that happened with Crosby, you would think the Pittsburgh Penguins, especially as an organization, are going to take head injuries very seriously.
Mhm.
Oh, 100%.
But
And
before this head injury, he was not playing very well.
no. No.
Giving up 6 goals to Washington, which, okay, that's Washington, but then, giving up 5 goals to the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday night. And realistically, not all of those goals were his fault. That last goal against Montreal, that was bad. That wraparound that he gave up, it was very bad.
That was pretty bad.
But some of the other goals, he made some miraculous saves right before. There were second chance opportunities, which is something that we saw Horwat when we went to the game or the season opener against Washington, is he was giving up a lot of second chances. His rebound control was not there at all in the
Yeah.
first game, and it wasn't there in the second game either. And Montreal just took advantage a little bit more than Washington did because Washington scored on more initial shots.
Mhm.
But he said it himself. He is not happy with the way he started the season.
he was. It just seems like he's just not as aware in there. Like, giving up a wraparound like that, which, okay, not always going to be your fault, but it just
On
doesn't
that
seem
one,
like
it was kind of just slow developing, though. You would think somebody
Yeah.
of his caliber, which we'll talk about that a little bit, his
Yeah.
caliber
you would think
should stop that.
Yeah, you would think a 2-time Stanley Cup champion would
Oh.
stop that.
yeah. Well, I
Well,
like how you're using that as an excuse.
I'm not using it as an excuse.
I like how you're saying 2-time Stanley Cup champion.
Well-
Granted, I know he is.
Yeah, but you
But-
would think that he would be able to stop something. And I'm not wanting somebody to
At what-
bash Murray or anything.
At what point do we say he can't rest on those laurels anymore?
Oh,
It's a very
he already can't.
really.
Uh,
Do you think
yeah.
he already can't?
Once
A lot of people are still making that judgment. They're
I mean-
saying he's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. I think he has the right. No, I don't think he has the right. He hasn't done it for a full season.
it's one thing to use the however many times Stanley Cup champion as a title, like Sidney Crosby's a 3-time Stanley Cup champion,
Yes, he is.
but you can't use that as a
Yeah, you can't use
you
that
can't
as
use
a
that
benchmark
you
Well,
can
yeah.
I don't think you could ever really use it as a benchmark for how good you are
in
unless
any sport.
Yeah, unless it's like 5 in a row because of this one person, and that was a little extreme. But like unless it's like a certain amount, and you're the only reason, like LeBron carried Cleveland to their one champion. He won 1 or 2 back whenever he came back to Cleveland.
1.
2.
1, 2. Okay, guys.
I thought he won 2.
He went to 3, only won 1.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know basketball.
Oh no, I know.
That's
you
why this isn't a basketball
No,
talk
no,
show.
Now, and I'm not saying
Regardless, what I mean by that is that you would think he would be able to stop a wraparound shot like that.
Oh, that's what we're coming back to?
what I was in the middle of something.
Oh, well, okay, great.
But like I'm saying, like LeBron, you can say is a however many time NBA champion. Admittedly, I'm not gonna give him the full title because he won a couple of those with the Dream Team, basically in Miami. But if you say LeBron is however many times Stanley Cup champ, whoa boy,
I don't know how many times
Is
LeBron
a-
has
Yeah, I
won
don't know how
Stanley
many
Cup.
times-
is an NBA champion.
Jordan, you want to look that stat up for me?
with he's so many
Please
times.
don't even Google that.
Yeah, he's a so many time NBA champion with Cleveland because he willed and carried that team the whole way. If you do that, then yes, you can use that as your benchmark of success, or not of is your benchmark of skill. But a lot of times, you really just shouldn't do that ever, in my opinion.
Okay.
You can use it as a title, like
That's understandable.
Lemieux, 2-time Stanley Cup champion as player, 3 as an owner.
Right.
Well, that begs the question that I have to ask you guys today. Are you or have you ever been worried about Matt Murray's performance?
I was, honestly, the time that I was most concerned about Matt Murray was last season when he came back after his dad's death and then he tore it up. So, honestly, it's 2 games in right now. I think.
Not to say we should.
Oh, yeah,
overreact on
yeah.
these games. I'm just saying throughout
Oh,
his
yeah, yeah.
entire career.
Yeah, no, I'm saying I was most worried about him at that point, and he was fine.
Okay.
So
I've never really been like, how'd you word it? Worried?
Worried is how I
I've never
worded
really
it.
been worried about a
'Cause-
goaltender's play in Pittsburgh since I think
Danny Sabrin.
Jeff Zakoff.
Not Jeff Sackhoff. I was gonna say like Thomas Vokoun, but
Vokoun in the playoffs.
whenever Fleury started not doing well, and then it was like, oh, we're bringing in Vokoun.
You told me even the first game. You looked at me and you said, "This is the first time I've been scared. Anytime there's a shot on our net, in a long time."
That was because
that was
Murray
bad
gave
defense,
up.
and Murray gave up 3 goals in the first 4 shots of the season.
So I was like,
so that's very understandable.
Yeah, because I mean, we had always had Fleury who,
That's the base.
To raise-
Solid,
yeah.
solid base.
But I think even us, I don't want to try to ruin this discussion because a lot of people ruin discussions by bringing up the Murray-Fleury debate. I think that debate's over. It doesn't matter. It's gone.
Yeah, that's been. Now Twitter just uses that.
There's people that use it as jokes still, and some people actually still use it as arguments that if Murray was still here, I don't understand that he's gone. He's a Pittsburgh great in my opinion, but he's gone. We can't keep comparing Matt Murray to Marc-Andre Fleury, even in Fleury's success in Vegas. You can't compare them.
You want to know who else is gone that we totally not forgot about, but we totally just kind of let go real quick? Andrew McCutchen.
He's tearing it up for the Yankees.
Yeah,
right now.
but we don't care anymore.
Well, it's because nobody cares about the Pirates in Pittsburgh.
Exactly.
But in Murray's
me.
also only, 23, 24?
24.
24. There's plenty of time.
In his, 3... Yeah, this will be his 4th season playing NHL games.
Yeah.
In his 4th season, including the 2 games, I guess, he has a career 2.64 goals allowed average and a save percentage of .915. While that is not, the save percentage of .915 is not great, it's about where you'd expect a middle-of-the-line starter to be.
So do you remember the stat that was on the screen before the game that I said that is absolutely nuts?
I remember the stat that it was. I don't remember the actual numbers. It was Murray's home record.
His home record was, now before the game, it was 41-9.
That's unreal.
That's disgusting.
Yeah,
So
and now it's
42-10, which is still unbelievable.
Yeah, but he got knocked up into that double digits and home losses. I think he's losing it. He's in the double digits. I don't.
It's
I don't
over.
Think,
It's over.
I don't think there's anywhere to go from here. That's why he got a concussion, phantom concussion. He can't take it anymore after losing 5-1 in his 10th home loss of his career in his 4th year.
Are you ready?
I couldn't do it.
Blow it up.
Are you ready for the next big starting goalie debate between Jari and DeSmith? Because it's bound to happen now.
That hurt my ears.
How much you want to bet that I have Casey DeSmith facts on me?
I wouldn't be shocked. Wasn't he your computer background for a
you
while?
did prep?
Oh, I prepped.
You did prep?
I did prep.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to give you the floor because you haven't done prep for this show in like a year.
Okay. So, obviously, Casey DeSmith is the expected starter, as we said.
As of right now for Thursday,
Okay.
yes.
So, he played a lot more games last year than I actually thought he did. I thought he only played in 8.
Well, Murray was hurt 3 different times.
Yeah,
well,
but-
hurt 2 different times and it was on leave for his father.
Yeah, but then he was splitting time with Jari, and I thought Jari might have played more. But
No.
It turns out DeSmith played 14 games last season, had a 6-4-1 record. He has a 2.4 goals against average, and he has a .921 save percentage.
His numbers are better than Murray.
Those are
He
respectable.
should be the starter.
Those are respectable.
But realistically, yes, that's very good
And
for a
then
backup goalie.
That's
exactly what you want.
And then an interesting fact that I found about him and Jari, which makes me feel actually really good about either of them starting, is that they won the AHL's Harry Hap Holmes Award.
Yep.
For the AHL team that surrendered the fewest goals.
Yep. That was in 2017.
Yeah.
So I have no issue with either of these guys coming in and starting.
Oh no, they're both very good goaltenders.
Yeah, and they both, thank God, they both have NHL experience under their belt, so they know.
Especially
what to
after
expect.
last season.
Yeah.
Especially after last season.
I think they were the first rookie duo to record their first wins in the same season on the same team.
See, now you're just reaching.
No, that was a real fact that the Penguins Twitter posted last year.
I'm not gonna deny it.
My man's doing his homework today.
I love backup.
He missed a week. It was hurt, so he missed a week. He was out day to day, and he's back with a vengeance.
So this is the work you were doing instead of for Mushi.
I love backup goaltenders. Okay.
Backups, okay.
Yeah, who was your favorite goaltender? Antero Niittymaki?
And Tiro Niittymaki. He's an animal.
Unreal. What a hockey name.
It was a good hockey name. But back to Murray, his first 2 games, yes, they were not good. But if you look around the league, not many goalies look too good so far this year. It's a very high-scoring league, especially. I mean, even you look. What was it? 2 nights ago, Chicago versus Toronto.
Yeah.
7-6 in overtime, just like the Penguins and the Capitals. 3 goals in the last minute and a half.
That's unreal.
I watched that game, but I only watched the last 5 minutes.
So you watched
So
basically
I saw
the best
parts.
part of the game.
Yeah.
There was another thing that was kind of interesting about that game, not to go away from Penn's hockey for too long, but when the goal was scored on the Blackhawks in overtime, all 4 players on the ice were Conn Smythe winners.
Oh, that's cool.
Can you name them? 4 Conn Smythe winners. Yep, MVP of the playoffs, 4 of them.
For
Chicago.
So it was Chicago,
for Chicago.
Toronto.
Okay, so obviously Cam Ward
Yes.
for whenever he's in Carolina.
Yes.
Obviously Jonathan Taves.
Yes.
Patrick Kane.
Yes. You're missing one more.
Duncan Keith.
Yep. All
Yeah.
4 of them. 4 Conn
Yeah,
Smythe winners.
They're 3 best players and their goalie who won it somewhere else.
Yes. I just figured that was an interesting
Okay.
stat to share. But
I was like, there's no curveballs here. I know it.
I mean, it's pretty obvious as long as you know hockey. But pretty much what we're getting at is, yes, Murray had a bad 2 games, but also it's 2 games. People are freaking out
Oh,
everywhere
it's ridiculous.
that, trade Murray again. I was like, why are we starting this already? I figured we'd at least get to the midway point of October before we started this crap.
I thought we would get to November.
So
at
as to what
least.
I'm going to go
Oh,
on to
that's
what you're
hopeful.
saying about high-scoring games because I pulled up there are 3 games on right now.
Oh my gosh.
And San Jose is beating Philly 3-0 in the first.
Okay. Wow.
Oh my god.
That's Gritty's home debut in the regular season,
Yes,
by the way.
it is.
But continue.
Carolina is beating Vancouver 4-3 early in the second.
Holy crap.
And the normal score, which is about early in the second, Columbus is beating Colorado 2-1.
Well, that's because, I mean, still 2-1.
I mean, that's
You're not going to.
but it's not a.
Well, they all scored in the first period is the real question.
I don't know, but still.
But yeah, that's a lot of goals.
A lot of goals being scored. And I don't know what attributes to that because it's the NHL. And sometimes there's going to be a lot of goals scored and sometimes there's not. You just look at the playoffs last year. Look at the Philly-Pittsburgh series compared to the Vegas-Los Angeles series.
Oh yeah,
I think they scored as many goals in their entire series as we did in Game 6.
wasn't there only like 5 or 6 goals scored in that series?
Well, there was more than that, but like 10.
Okay.
Roughly 10.
Yeah.
I know he was very small because it was a sweep, so it wasn't like a whole. Those games were only like 1-0 or 2-1.
So, yeah, very true.
Mm.
But we are moving towards an NHL where scoring is coming at bigger and bigger intervals.
They shrunk the goalie pads again. That could be something, even though that's not it.
That's
not it
that's
at
not
all.
it. These guys are good enough that you can shrink them probably another 2 inches and they still make 90% of the saves.
Exactly.
There's a stat that was, or well, rather, there was a writer at the Gazette the other night who was trying to tell me that the reason that Sidney Crosby would be the 3rd line center on a Penguins all-time team is because of the size of the goalie pads.
That's backwards.
What?
Yeah.
That should be very backwards because the goalie pads are still bigger than they were back then.
Yeah.
By a large margin.
Yep.
And the goalies are better.
You realize where my confusion was.
Yeah, I completely understand where that confusion was.
Who would have been? Okay, Mario would have been first, probably.
Yeah, he had Marion.
Who was his second?
God, why can't I think of his name? We played the 90s.
That narrows it down.
Okay, first so
Peter Nedved.
No.
because Yager wasn't a center.
No.
Probably, was it Francis?
Yes.
Ron Francis.
Okay.
But back to the topic.
Yeah, but so the size of goalie pads don't matter.
Not one bit.
Not particularly.
Yeah,
no.
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
When Matt Murray returns from concussion, because he will, hopefully, when he returns from concussion, what do you guys see? Do you see him having a good season, or do you think those first 2 games are indicative of where he's at?
He's gonna win 20 games at least this season.
Yes,
Okay.
I agree.
I sure hope so.
I think not that stats matter all too much. You can't really take stats at face value always, but I think he has above a .920 save percentage this year after he comes back.
I think he'll come back and be just as good as he was last year.
That's what I'm. Concussions hurt, and yes, he has not really proven that he's elite, but I think at one point or other he will be considered an elite goaltender in this league.
He's
It's
very often considered one of the best goalies in the league.
He's not there yet, in my opinion.
Okay.
He needs to prove it. It's a what have you done for me now league, and 2 great playoffs does not make you an elite goaltender.
And that it probably is just people also just riding off of the 2 Stanley Cup thing that we talked about before.
Yes, I completely agree.
But no, I mean, he's a great goalie. He's probably going to come back and be just as fine.
I would hope so, yes.
Yeah.
So We are going to go to our first break. When we come back, we're going to discuss games 1 and 2 of the Pittsburgh Penguins season. Come on back to 3PT on WPPJ Radio. Welcome back to 3PT on WPPJ Radio. You can listen to WPPJ wherever you are at with WPPJradio.com or streaming on the TuneIn app.
I'm just gonna start expecting you to read from the cards every time now.
Well, I mean, it's a very good thing to read from. So
my favorite is the Banks of the Mon.
the Banks of the Mon. Yeah, I screwed that up on the opening. But we are here to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins games, actually. In our
we got
fourth
games,
episode, we
finally.
got games to talk about. Last Thursday was the season opener against the Washington Capitals. Horwat, you took me. Thank you again for that.
Yeah, no problem.
I was kind of upset about the intro. The beginning.
Oh, the kids thing.
Yeah, the kids thing was cool, but I expected like a pump-up video, and then that was it, and then they announced them, and it was kind of anticlimactic.
I mean, we didn't know how to do an intro anymore, man. It was the first.
This is the first time in 3 years we've done an intro without a Stanley Cup
Yeah,
present.
like we didn't have our best friend here to like help us out, so
No, he was
we
in
kinda had to
Washington
shoot
the
from the
night
hip.
before. So it was interesting, but the game that followed, oh boy,
That was something.
my blood pressure was through the roof that night. Past our 5 Stanley Cup banners, Washington. Sorry, I have to throw one.
I
in there.
can picture you. I just picture you at the game, just like analyzing it once they scored their first goal.
We scored.
we
first.
scored first.
That's what I mean.
Oh, what?
Once they scored first.
Yeah, analyzing. Have you ever been to a Penguins game with me? Have you watched a Penguins game with me? I don't analyze it as
I
I'm
just picture
watching
you
it.
being like, all like hands clasped, looking
My
at
hands,
the, like,
my hands are clasped like that though during games.
I think
I'm not gonna lie.
I think like the motion that you did there, Jordan. I think that's what we both did after Washington scored their third. I literally took my hat off, put it on the floor, and put my phone down. I was like, this can't be happening right now.
See, I did that after the second goal, meaning the goal that Brooks Orpik scored on us.
Okay,
who has not scored a goal since 2015? Was it, or was it
It was, it
2016?
was a couple of years.
Did they say that on the broadcast, or you actually?
No,
like,
but
They said that on
someone-
the broadcast.
Oh,
They said it on
okay.
the broadcast.
Okay. Someone also tweeted it too. I saw.
You're
Okay.
just getting surprised by me
because
tonight.
I'm like, wow, you came prepared tonight. This is like the most prepared I've seen you since ever.
I mean, he
For
had,
anything, not even the show, for anything.
I mean, he had 2 whole weeks to prepare.
That's true. But the
It took
game
me-
was also last Thursday, so
I think
these
that's my
stats.
I think that's my last bit of information that's left.
All right, we'll have to carry you for the next 35 minutes.
Oh, I'm sure he'll have opinions on.
But no,
other
that game
stuff.
was quite interesting. Jamie Oleksiak scored the first goal. We had
We were-
Oleksiak scored a goal. Orpik scored a goal. Who else? What other defensemen? Letang scored
Letang.
2.
Woo.
So and John Carlson scored. So a lot of defensive scoring in that game.
But I just remember we were literally discussing who's going to score first when Alexiak scored.
2 seconds before
We were
he
literally
scored,
in the middle of like, who's going to score first?
I was like
this year?
Brassard, and you were like, oh, probably Sprong. And
No.
I was like, okay. And then Oleksiak scored, and we were both like, fine with that.
I was rooting for Brian Rust to get it 3 seasons in a row.
Well, there's another stat. There's another piece of information. I had no idea that he had scored 2 openers in a row.
No, I had no idea. Didn't even think of it.
You know what? I might be thinking of the playoffs.
No, because
I'm thinking of
Russ did score the first last year. I
Yeah,
remember.
no,
that.
it's I was rooting for the three-peat.
All right, there you go.
Oh, we're always rooting for 3 Peats.
3 and 4 will be just as good. But we followed along that game. If anybody watched that game, which I'm hoping most of you did, it was rough.
It was honestly okay.
No defense.
If there was defense,
Well,
it was
especially in the
bad.
first period. The first period, there was 0 defense on either side of the puck.
When it wasn't like looking. Look, it was a fun game. I'll start there. Actually, I thought it was a fun game.
It was fun to be at, but at the same time, it was
I think because
weird.
the way it kept close the entire game, though, is what made it fun as a hockey game. As a Penguin fan, in the beginning, you're like, this is not looking strong. This
But
is not looking good.
Isn't that what the game's for? Even if you're losing, if it's a fun game, isn't that the reason we watch? Is because it's fun to watch and be a fan?
Yeah, you're right.
That's what sometimes I feel like we overanalyze it, and even when we're down 1 goal, we're like, oh no, we need to get this back. And when realistically, we should just watch and enjoy the game.
No, yeah, I guess you're right. It's just
The ebbs and flow of a season are too much to care about 1 goal and 1 loss.
Unless it's a playoff loss.
Did you just check your hair in the camera?
I sure did.
You have none.
Exactly.
But back to my point, the defense was not good in the first
No.
period. Chris Letang did not look good. Luckily, the second and third period,
he
Chris
looked
Letang
great.
looked amazing. And in
And then
the
in
game
overtime-
against, in overtime, we didn't have anything in the defensive zone.
He looked great.
Well, we scored a goal. but
Exactly, he looked great.
But what I'm saying is, apart from his 3 points in that game, he looked a lot better than he did at any point last year, in my opinion. And it's nice to see, and it's encouraging to see him trying to get back to that level he was and kind of leading this defense.
It looked like the offseason, the long offseason that he got helped a lot.
And the healthy offseason, too.
So, and well, again, Oli Mata was not my favorite person on the ice.
Yeah, that's something else we got to talk about. He played bad in that game. He got torched against Montreal. The reason for that mainly being because Montreal, everybody said they were going to suck. So what did they do? Let's go young and fast. And what did that do for Mata? That meant he's going to look like has his feet stuck in the ice.
Yep.
Yep.
And guess what? He got punished for it, at least as of now, because he's now on the 4th pairing defense and would be a healthy scratch come Thursday if that stays that way. Ricola was moved up into the top 6.
I'm okay with that. 100% fine with that.
Practiced with Oleksiak today.
That's an interesting pairing.
Yeah, that's a strange pairing for that, but I mean, if it means, Stones for Skates is on the bench, I'm okay with it.
He's not going to be on the bench. He's going to be in the press box.
If he's on the as long as it's not on the ice.
Yeah, he has just not looked good. And I know, again, it's 2 games in, but it just, even towards the end of last season and now the beginning of this season, Oli has just not looked good.
Well, it's definitely worth making him sit a couple games, making him have some retrospect, letting him practice things in practice and work on things in practice, and giving a young player like Ricola a little bit of experience, seeing what you have with him in the regular season. Coming up Thursday, luckily, we play Vegas Golden Knights, who have not been able to put the puck in the back of the net. So it'll be a good test for our defense to see if they can hold up against a team that's struggling offensively, because otherwise that's a very bad look for our defense.
Trust me, my fantasy team with Fleury on it has noticed that he's been giving up goals.
Hey, again, it's 2 games in, though.
Yeah, it's 2 or 3 games in. We can't overreact to any real record or wins and losses. You just kind of got to look at performance and still even take that with a grain of salt, because it's still very early in the season and a lot of things can change. The other thing I noticed in the Washington game, Jack Johnson didn't look great, but at the same time, he was also on the line with Oli Mata. I think the problem being anytime he didn't look great is when he was trying to cover for Oli.
I agree with that.
So there were some plays that he made very good plays on pucks. He was physical at some points. And again, he's also trying to adjust to this system.
Yeah.
So that was encouraging to see on his part. Dumoulin played a Dumoulin-type game.
Good.
I thought Oleksiak played very well defensively, positioning-wise. Also, again, try to ignore the goal scoring when we're talking about defensive players.
Yeah, that's hard to do these days.
And then Schultz kind of... You didn't see Schultz much, which I guess is a good thing. It's kind of a Dumoulin-esque performance.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't. He's usually, if there was any defenseman I expected to score, it was going to be Schultz.
Yeah, well, I expect Letang to score.
Okay,
outside of Letang.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. He's probably the second best scoring defenseman.
No, but yeah, he had a quiet couple games.
Well, I don't know if anybody really had a quiet game against Montreal. We lost 5-1.
Everyone had a quiet game, is what you meant to say.
Well, the thing about that is in the first period, it was a classic Penguins loss because we controlled the entirety of the first period. Excuse me. We had power plays where we looked good. We had good shots on net, but again, Carey Price stood on his head like he did in Montreal, or not in Montreal, in Toronto to keep them in Game 1. He did it again against Pittsburgh, and he only gave up that 1 goal to Sheahan.
Every time the Penguins play Carey Price, it just frustrates me. There are 2 goalies in this league that frustrate me, and that's Cam Ward and Carey Price.
Because they play well against
They just
Penguins.
play well against the Pens every time.
I mean, Carey Price is also probably the elite goaltender of the league.
Yes, I acknowledge
Yeah,
that.
he's on.
Yeah, I mean, granted,
Last
he
year
didn't
he was not on.
Yeah.
I was
And he looked
watching the
horrible.
Montreal-Toronto game, like their opener, and they put Price's stats up from last season. I didn't realize he was 16 and 20-something.
Well, he was on. You got to look at the team that he's on.
No, I know, but I still didn't expect that. I was like, oh, that is ugly for the top goalie in the league, probably.
Well, he can only keep them in the game so much.
No, well, obviously, we're well aware of that.
Yeah.
We've seen defense let Murray down quite a few times.
Which is exactly what...
All the time against Montreal.
Yeah.
Is what we did. We couldn't stop Philip Dano. We couldn't stop, I can't remember his name.
Is it the young kids?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Arturi Lehkonen. And I'm trying to think of the one guy that has a funny name.
Something
but I can't remember.
Niemi.
Oh, Kotkaniemi.
Kotkaniemi.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I remember is Niemi is in it.
Yeah, and Antiniemi is
And
their
Antiniemi
backup.
is on the team.
How do you look at a young baby boy and go, this is my son, Cackney?
That's his last name.
That's their last name.
It's Kotkaniemi. His first name's Arturo.
He's also an
Arturi.
He's also an
Arturio makes
ugly
sense.
kid. Just saying.
Okay.
Well,
Sorry.
it doesn't matter. But we controlled that entire first period of play, and you could tell it was something that whenever we gave up a goal and then we gave up another goal, the entire fire was let out of the Penguins, and they're like, "Wow, we're down 2-0, and we've controlled this entire game." And some of that, yes, is on Matt Murray. You have to make a save at some point, and you need to make sure the momentum stays with your team. But at the same time, the defense really didn't play well in front of them on Saturday.
No, not at all.
No, and that is something we are used to.
But again, we are only 2 games into the season. We're in a better position than we were last year 2 games into the season, if anybody remembers that. Overtime loss in Game 1 against the Blues, and then a 10-1 shellacking at the hands of Chicago the next night.
Oh, that was bad.
Oh,
No.
which reminds me, I saw something on Capitals Twitter, because I don't know why it popped up on my feed. They were complaining about the schedule because they had their banner raising, and then they had to go to Pittsburgh the next night. And I was like, isn't that what every Stanley Cup team does?
Well, didn't
wait.
did we
Didn't we
raise
do
the
that
banner and then
last
go to
year?
Chicago?
They're going to complain about a schedule. Did they not see ours last year?
They're gonna have a
19 back-to-backs?
19 back-to-backs?
I'm sorry, I doubt they have 19 back-to-backs. I'll look into that after this.
That's an interesting one.
But I doubt it's 19. I doubt they would do that to any team anymore, unless it's the Penguins again.
That just wears teams out so easily.
No, but again, we had to we had to have our opener against a fiery team in St. Louis at the time.
Still now.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
Middle of the road team.
but a fresh St. Louis.
Yeah.
And then
Immediately play Chicago in
go
their
to
first
Chicago in their fresh game.
Yeah.
What were we supposed to do whenever we had Niemi as our backup?
game. Yeah, Niemi also played
And
that
then
second
and then
game.
Murray still came in halfway through that game.
And gave up 4 goals.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just figured that was interesting that Capitals fans are already complaining that the NHL is out to get them.
Well, let them complain because that's ridiculous.
Man, that's
Another reason they might have been thinking the NHL is out to get them is what happened the day of their banner raising. Tom Wilson suspended for 20 games to start the season. Now he has appealed it, so we'll
What?
see. He's appealed it officially with an NHL Department of the NHLPA has officially appealed it for him, and it's going to go. Sorry, I'm trying to think of the facts right now. It's going to go before Gary Bettman, and he has a choice. And if he again decides the 20 games, then it goes before a mediator. I'm going to believe that there's probably going to be 5-10 games knocked off of this suspension.
I'm
my
picturing a 15-game suspension.
I can see it 15 or 10 at this point.
No, yeah, and he should be suspended 30 games in my opinion.
I don't even want to get into that. We're on radio and it's family friendly. I don't want to get into talking about
Tom Wilson.
Tom Wilson.
It's not on the list of words. We're good. just keep it at that. But yeah, that's not the Penguins. The Capitals already think the league's out to get them. So maybe the Penguins fans won't be looked at as the big evil this year.
Yeah.
But first 2 games of the season, overall thoughts, or what?
Yeah, it's the beginning of the season. There's bound to be not as much structure for everyone, which is probably part of the reason why there's a ton of high-scoring games across the board. And once more structure starts getting made, once Murray comes back, I expect a little bit more from it, and I expect there to be a much better season ahead.
Yeah.
Jordan? Thoughts?
Tighten up the defense a little bit, and then let DeSmith or Jari, whoever you want to have, settle in for a bit. Bring Murray back a little bit after October, and everything will be fine.
Like we said, my thing is we're 2 games into the season. The thing I've noticed, Mike Sullivan's always been pretty liberal about changing his lineup on the go, changing it in the game. He's even more liberal from what I've seen so far this year. We're saying it's only been 2 games. Think about what he's changed. In the first game, in the first period, he switched Rust down to the 4th line and put Sprong on the 3rd line to see how it worked.
Yep.
It worked well, but he did that in the first period of a game.
Yep.
Now we're 2 games in. He's thinking about healthy scratching Oli Mata, who makes over $3.5 million. So obviously that doesn't matter to Mike Sullivan, which is good because some coaches do care about that.
Glad he doesn't care about that.
So already taking Mata out, giving Rico a chance. This is something that we really haven't seen. We've seen him switch things up, but not at this pace.
Mata makes $4 million, by the way.
I knew it was above 3.5. I didn't know if it was 4 or not.
Unreal.
So that's my biggest takeaway from the first 2 games of the season, the first week of the season. Actually, we're not even a week into the season. That would be tomorrow.
We are 6 days in.
The other thing I took away from
5 days in, but the league is
is 6 days in.
Yeah.
The other thing I took away from it is why do the schedule makers do this to us?
This is a dumb. This is so
Thursday,
stupid.
Saturday, and then you have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off. And it's not to say, hey, you can get your rest at the beginning of the season because look what happened. Matt Murray's out.
Yeah, like this is the dumbest schedule I've ever seen.
Well, I wouldn't say
Yeah,
that. We had
last
19
year's was
back-to-backs
worse.
last year.
Okay, but I want hockey. At least there was hockey.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit more
Let's
difficult.
start watching
to
the
get
rest of the
excited.
league, Jordan. There's some great games going on right now.
Yeah, I watched-
Really? Because I see
yesterday-
San Jose's thrashing Philly, which I enjoy.
Yeah, now you do.
Vancouver, Carolina seems like a boring game to me.
Nope.
Nope.
Young teams, very
First
good
of all,
players.
look at 7 goals, dude.
Although I would watch the Colorado Columbus game.
I would watch Colorado. But that being said,
Oh, I do love me some Calgary Flames though.
There's so much wrong with you.
he likes the real deal, obviously.
Johnny Gaudreau?
Yeah, Johnny Hockey.
Okay, well, there we go. We're going to go to our second commercial break while you ponder that thought of Johnny Gaudreau. And when we come back, we are going to have a little bit of around the league. And finally, the Pittsburgh Penguins have released their third jersey. We're going to have our opinions on that and more coming up on 3PT.
Yellow paint, I hear they scared of it, but them pros ain't. Soon as I hit the club, look at them whole face.
And we are back here at 3PT here in the WPPJ radio studios. My name is Nick Berlansky. I'm along here with Nicholas J. Horwat and Jordan Slobodinsky. How about them third jerseys? The Penguins dropped their third jerseys today at around 2 o'clock, or no, sorry, I should say around 11 o'clock a.m. Nick was still sleeping over there.
I wasn't napping. I was up already for
And
class.
what year is it? Because I feel like it's time for some Stadium Series hockey at Heinz Field. Oh, wait, no, that's just our third jersey. They revamped the Pittsburgh Stadium Series jerseys, and that's the gold third jersey for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They finally
so
released it.
underwhelming. I'm
And that
so
is-
disappointed by it.
There was so much hype, and it just did not live up
There
to
was
the hype.
first of all,
I
there
like
was
it.
there wasn't too much hype for it because I think like a bunch of teams came out with thirds, and the season started, and I was just expecting us to not have any because we have a Stadium Series game.
Yeah, we
So I was
talked
like, we're
about
probably
that.
just
We
gonna get
expected
it then,
Yeah.
and roll with that. But whenever this shockingly dropped, I was like, okay, cool, we have a third. They look like trash.
They don't look like trash.
They literally look like they took the
They-
Stadium Series jersey
which
and
they
took the
did.
patches off.
They did some other stuff too. If you didn't notice how different
like
than
what?
look at the numbers. The numbers
Oh, they
don't have
shrunk
the
the
steel on it.
numbers.
No, they didn't shrink it. They changed it to the block numbers instead of just having it as that weird steel thing. They fixed the logo in the middle instead
I
of being
have
a
the
skinny.
pictures on my phone. They look the exact same, except they took off the patches and shrunk the numbers, and maybe got rid of and maybe added a stripe.
I like it.
I'm not okay.
They
with
also
this at
changed
all.
the helmet. The helmet was much brighter in the Stadium Series. Now they're kind of a mustard yellow instead of a bright yellow.
I'm not so much concerned about the helmet.
I like them.
I mean,
I think they look better, 10 times better as Adidas than they did as Reebok.
I like at the shoulders how they have this nice little like.
Well, that's on all the
That's on all the.
that's on
jerseys.
all the Adidas jerseys now.
Okay, see, I like that. See, I don't know these jerseys.
But another thing, they got rid of the triangle.
Yeah, around the. I didn't like the triangle around there. I thought it looked really weird, especially
I-
since it was yellow as well. I'm glad they
They
got rid of the triangle.
No, you
Around-
just shouldn't have made this jersey. I
Around
was,
the A and the C, is that what you're talking
No,
about?
I mean around the Penguin.
There was no triangle around it in the Stadium Series one. Pull it.
No,
I know.
pull it up.
I'm talking about in general because
Well, okay, because they're doing that because the jerseys that were these jerseys, the yellow jerseys, did not have the triangle.
they also said they were trying to also harken back to the yellow jerseys that they wore in the 80s.
Okay.
So like that's why there's like an extra stripe on the sleeve and why it's kind of like that there's supposed to be kind of like a little shoulder thing off to it.
Yeah.
But
Oh, also the numbers were not on the shoulders, were they? They were down lower on the Stadium Series.
no,
I
they're
thought.
on the shoulders.
They were on the shoulders. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought. Well, yeah, that makes sense because it was like the football.
I-
Yeah,
I-
didn't. I couldn't remember exactly what the Stadium
I
Series
like the
ones looked
numbers
like.
up here.
The numbers are fine. The numbers
shoulders.
might be the only part I like about this.
It seems very much like a. I
Here's
don't-
my
it
logic for
literally-
liking it. Me
ahead.
and you both agreed. If anybody's watching this on video podcast right now, your jersey on that you have on right now is the
Is
one
the
that
one
both of us agreed that
I wanted
we
that
all
one
kind of
we wanted. We all wanted this
You
one.
two wanted this one mostly. I would have been okay with this one or
You wanted the
triangle one. Just the triangle penguin
Oh,
here.
really?
Like
I
the
thought you wanted
black
the
with the stripe.
with the stripe. That's the one I was
That
thinking.
would
The
or the
gradient
white
one.
one would even been cool. But
That was the one that I particularly wanted.
I like the Pittsburgh across the chest. That's the one I particularly wanted. But I'm fine with this, and this makes sense for one reason. Our home jersey is black with gold. So if we had another black jersey as our third jersey, what's the? I don't. I'd rather have something that's distinguishable as your third jersey, and that's probably why they did that instead of doing that.
the Jets have two blue home jerseys now.
Yeah,
The
but
Flames
it's a
have two red home
but it's
jerseys
a different
now.
blue, and you can't really do a different black unless you make it gray.
How cool would that be?
It would be
Or-
really cool, but that's
Why-
not the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Why
They're
are we
not
not
gray.
talking about this?
We're not doing the power
We're not
blue
going
again,
back to
Jordan.
blue.
Delete that.
That'd be cool, but we're not doing that. My thing is too is like I have an issue with taking away the triangle for.
Yeah, I really don't like getting
It
rid of the
needs to be
triangle.
different, and that's
It's-
what it is.
But the triangle has been a part of the logo since we made the team.
There's always been an iteration of the triangle.
Exactly. It's like I get you're going for something different, but obviously we're not a team who changes like a steady part of the logo too often. And I get that we're not gonna like this isn't the permanent homes. And
No, and it's not going to be.
Right.
It's
And
not
it's
going
not
to be
going
the
to be.
same thing as the Pittsburgh Gold. It's not going to take over in a couple years, clearly. But I think this is something that's different, and it's something that they went for because they knew it was different. And I think it's a good idea, and I think it's very distinguishable as your third jersey.
It's distinguishable. I'll give it that much.
Thank
and
you.
it's. I just feel like design-wise, it looks a little like just thrown together. You know,
it
like
literally looks like the Stadium Series jerseys, and they just took the
and, like,
patches off.
Like I understand, like even if it. Okay, but to that argument, we can also say that the Ducks are just using throwbacks.
What do you mean?
Well, this is technically just throwbacks too. Most of the jerseys,
Technically.
most of the third jerseys are just throwbacks. Look at Carolina with the Whalers.
Yeah, but that one's kind of
And they have,
They're
a,
only
they have a
wearing it
different
once.
third. They have a different third.
Yeah, because they're only wearing the Whalers ones.
Yeah.
once.
yeah.
But Capitals, they have a third jersey that is
I didn't
just a
see it.
throwback jersey.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It's literally
it's
just
literally
there.
just-
Is it the weird blue, the black, and the
hold on.
brown?
No, I
Is
wish.
it that one from the
No,
early
that would've
Ovechkin
been
days?
I would have been so hyped
Oh,
about
I was
that.
gonna say that would have been nice.
It's their red one.
Oh the
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the one that it looks like a Christmas like.
It looks
sweater.
like a Christmas sweater.
oh no, I remember that one actually. But
But there's Carolina's other new one,
This
which
one?
is very
yeah,
nice.
that one's the black with the Carolina. The stick is kind of like the flagpole. I like that as
Yeah, see, that's
a lot
cool.
too. But
But
here's the thing: when Stadium Series happened a couple years ago, did you like the jerseys when they came out?
I liked it because I knew we were gonna wear them like twice. And I was okay.
Did you
with
like them?
I didn't like them.
So
I
what's the-
wasn't, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it either. But I was like, we're gonna
So,
wear these twice. It's
Jordan-
cool for the time.
Okay, so you only like them because we were wearing them twice. Why are you guys just mad because it's not what you hoped for, or are you mad at the actual jersey?
I'm not mad
A little
about
bit
it.
of both.
I'm just like I don't like yellow as your primary color.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, when does yellow work? In,
Like,
Nashville.
those are ugly.
They
Don't
look
even get me started.
terrible.
Those look terrible.
They have the worst jerseys and the worst fans. Ugh.
Nah, man. Washington fans are still bleh, and so are Philly fans.
That's the Philly fans. But no,
They don't dump beer on a catfish.
that was
That was a football team, so that's a pass.
No, they did it at a Predators.
it was
playoff
at a
game.
Predators game, but it was the
it
Titans
was
that did
it
it.
was the Tennessee Titans in the box with their shirts off.
But
And
it's just
flavalanches
this-
happening all over the place.
But it's just this ugly yellow that just doesn't work. I don't even like the Pirates yellow jerseys. If
Oh,
I'm
I
being
think the
honest.
Pirates yellow jerseys are awesome.
I-
Their Sunday
I'm
specials.
Not a huge fan.
Like, I mean, I just don't think like obviously every Pittsburgh team is black and yellow.
Yes.
And,
Even the
like,
Riverhounds now, so yes.
Oh my God, really?
They're in the playoffs. Don't hate.
Good. I'm trying to go to a Riverhounds game at some point.
No, like the primary yellow just it doesn't look.
It doesn't
good.
work.
Like even look at the University of Pittsburgh. Like they went because they're transitioning back to the blue and the
To the
yellow.
classics, yes.
Yeah,
Like the
And
LA
that's-
Rams third jersey.
yeah, and
That's
that
majority
ye-
blue though.
Yeah, but that yellow is not their primary, and it's fine. So
Oh,
why?
yeah.
Yeah, like that yellow shouldn't be the primary on a jersey.
Well, here's the thing. There's nothing else that you can do color-wise
Right,
for
and
a primary.
I get that
if
because
you're the Penguins, you can do gray.
Distinguish.
We said we could do gray, but can you really do gray?
Not really.
Well,
the
then you
Pittsburgh-
can do the black ones with the stripe that was like grayish and like had like the gold and that turned into gray.
Yeah, I know.
That would
I know which ones you're talking
Yeah.
about. I used them on NHL 08 all the time. But at the same time, I still think you're just mad because that's not the one that they went with.
like I said, that's part of it. But I'm also just disappointed that they literally just took a jersey they had, did a minor change to it. And
That's what
continued.
everybody's doing, though. Nobody came out with a brand new jersey.
The Jets did.
That's
The
an old
Islanders
jersey.
kind of. The Jets did not wear just text across their jersey ever.
Yeah, but they did not create that. I can guarantee you they did not create that.
That logo.
Yeah, look up
It's
Johnstown
a
Jets.
logo. Oh my God! Listen, first of all, it's a logo first.
That's
I'm
historic.
expecting a
little
logo.
history lesson for you
I'm
kids.
also expecting a logo to be similar.
He said Johnstown Jets.
Like when Colorado made their thirds, it's literally the exact same thing they had before, and
that's the logo that's on their shoulder for their
and
regular jerseys.
And I wasn't okay with that, but they made that for their Stadium Series or Winter Classic, whichever one
The
they
Ducks
were
literally just threw it back.
The Ducks threw it back and added
They did
color.
the Mighty Ducks because they had to.
The Sharks jersey, which I'm also not a huge
If anybody
fan of.
hasn't realized this, we kind of just segued right into the Around the League segment for this week.
It's just awkward because like okay, so look at St. Louis's
A
third
throwback.
jersey.
A
Look at
throwback.
this. But yeah, like look how the yellow is not the primary.
I still think St. Louis should have brought back the jerseys that had the red in it.
Okay, but like
The
if the
Gretzky
Penguins would have done
era.
something like this, like if the yellow is the
Well,
collar,
and I
or-
think the Sabres. Wait, did the Sabres bring back the
Nope.
red and gray? No.
Nope,
Okay,
they should have.
That's the one I wanted.
Oh, that's the one everyone wants. And I want that one and the Capitals to go back to their blue and brownish.
Well, yeah, that would have been cool. But at the same time, what are the Vegas Golden Knights their jerseys going to be?
they probably didn't drop them yet.
They're probably just.
We're not going to until like
They're
next year.
probably
maybe.
going to be all that gold and shimmery gold.
Oh, they're gonna do a
It's
lot
going to
with
be
the
like shimmer, shimmer, shimmer.
They might do a lot with the red.
Yeah,
There's some
that
room,
would be
there's
cool.
some room to work there with that.
But at the same time,
Oh, and they also have black and gray, and they
well,
can do a ton with that.
Everybody has that jersey. You can get Penguins jerseys in that jersey.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's just a concept that that NHL.com sells. But all I'm saying is,
There's a red right there. But you were
Yeah.
saying yes.
all I'm saying is the Pittsburgh Penguins third jersey. Yes, it is kind of underwhelming. I will agree to that because I wanted the Pittsburgh diagonal one. But at the same time, I'm looking at it as okay. We have a black jersey for home. We have a white jersey for away. The only other color that's logical is the yellow if you want to distinguish jerseys. And that's what the Penguins are about. They're not really about making jerseys the same. They're kind of about distinguishing what jersey you have. Also, if you have this jersey, you don't have to put on the really big T-shirt if we make the playoffs. You can just wear that, and you're part of the gold out.
As long as you don't
Win-win.
become one of those teams that says, "Hey, let's wear our third jersey for the playoffs."
No, did you see the list?
Although we did do
no,
that.
we
Forgot
did.
we did do that.
We did that with Pittsburgh Gold in 2016.
But we knew it was going to be our jersey anyway. We had already said this will be our
they
jersey
just hadn't
next year.
created. They just hadn't created the road one. That's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
So this is something they did have a long list because they did also post a list of the games that they're going to be wearing them at, and it was a pretty hefty list. I think there was about 10 or 12 games. That they were having them.
Ugh.
I think I might be overreact. I
I
saw a
only
long
saw
list.
the
I didn't
first
count
one.
them.
I only saw the first one was like in November.
Yeah,
Maybe they'll look better in person.
they will.
I,
They did Stadium Series Day, and I mean I was there, and I
I
don't get a
can't
good
speak to
visual
that.
from where I was at, but watching the
Alright.
replays, they look good in the Stadium Series game. So I think they'll look good here, and I think they've made the improvements to them that they'll look even better.
Okay, so Dana Heinze tweeted a picture out of it. They said they're wearing the same pants, like that they've been wearing all season.
Well, yeah, they wore the same pants in the Stadium Series game.
Did they? Just scroll back up for a second.
Yeah, they wore black pants.
Yeah, here's Gensel.
Okay,
But the
anyway,
only big difference was that they had yellow helmets on.
they're gonna be wearing yellow helmets and those yellow socks again. So they're basically the Stadium Series jersey. It's just a slightly muted yellow.
Okay, we used the first Winter Classic jersey for a year and a half.
That was look. There's the one I want. But the yellow, the jersey, the Winter Classic jersey was cool. It was different.
It was powder
It was-
blue.
It was throwback.
Even though I have one, I still didn't like. Well, I really didn't like the dark blue that we did against Washington.
Okay, well that one was cursed anyway, so we don't need to worry about that.
I didn't like it before the game. But
I'll agree to that.
the point being, that's our third jersey. That's what we're with. We're not going to change it
Was it-
now.
Our voices have nothing to say about it, but I'm just not.
I
okay
know.
with-
I as well am frustrated by
They-
it for a lot.
like we wore it in the 80s. Yes, they wore it for 4 years, and they realized we have the greatest player in the world looking like this ugly yellow jersey. Let's
Well,
get
guess
rid of
what?
that.
We have the greatest player in the world in this. Not ugly. In this jersey. Well, it's clearly not as good as our current home jersey, but it's a third jersey. It's not supposed to be beautiful all the time.
It's an alternative.
It's an alternative for a reason. If it was better than the home jersey, then we would have used it as the home jersey, but it is not. So it's an alternative jersey. Thank you, Jordan.
I just feel like I see a third jersey come out. I'm like, man, it's supposed to be like the special one that they
That
only
is
wear.
special.
Is it ever?
Fine. If you don't like the jersey, then every time that you have tickets to a game where they're wearing their third jersey, I will take them.
Okay, bet. I'm probably not gonna be going to any of those games.
Hey, there was like 12, so maybe.
But also think about it. The Arizona Coyotes,
Yep.
they went back to their like
Coyote Man.
yeah, I
That's,
forget-
like,
I forget
made
what
out
it's
of
called.
triangles.
There's a real name for it, but I
He's
forget
like
what it's
a tribal looking dude, right?
Yeah.
called. We said Anaheim didn't quite throw it back. They like
Then went
just
to the Mighty Ducks.
they reiterated the design a little, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Calgary just straight up threw it back. Hurricanes have 2 new ones coming out. or not coming out. They have 2 new ones, the Hartford Whalers, and they're super cool, like Hurricane Flag one.
Their edgy
They-
flag.
It's actually kind of cool.
Oh no, I like it. It's just edgy.
Colorado Avalanche just redid their outdoor game jersey. Blue Jackets have their cannon one again.
I kind of like those.
It's okay.
With
It's
the
a
circle
yeah,
crest.
yeah. It's
and
a
then the
different
cannon in the
blue.
middle.
It is
Yeah,
a
I like
different
it.
blue. It's kind of okay. The Islanders came out with a new one. It was like a blue version of their black
it's-
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they put a ton of emphasis on like the tape
Yeah.
finally, like
Yeah.
for their cups.
So, other than jerseys, I wanted to get into a couple other things.
Oh, you're not
from
done?
around
All
the
right.
league. One of the things being Jack Eichel and the Sabres. Jack Eichel started the season very well.
Fantasy
so
team
far.
bench.
You might want to put him in the starting lineup because Jack Eichel has been on fire so far, along with Connor Sherry, who has, I believe, 5 points already. So the Sabres are looking pretty good. Carter Hutton's held up pretty well so far. They've played very well, including a 4-2 win over the Vegas Golden Knights the other night. It's early in the season, like we said, take everything with a grain of salt, but at the same time, it's nice to see a team like that get off to a hot start.
If they could win,
They're not making the playoffs, but
No,
if
no,
they
no,
could do what Carolina did last year and compete late into the season before falling off, then I think that's a win
if they
for them
win
this
7
season.
of their first 10 games, I'm gonna look pretty impressed with how Buffalo's holding up.
Okay. Well, just as well as Buffalo started, Vegas has not. In their second season, they've made a good bit of changes for a team that's only in their second season. They've had a lot of turnover already, losing players like Tomas Tatar, James Neal, David Perron, and gaining players like Max Pacioretty and Paul Stastny. So you have that much in and out already. Plus, don't forget, Nate Smith is suspended for steroid use. So you have that much really ebbs and flows outside of out of an organization that's only a year old. Do you guys think that this is something that they struggle this year, and last year was just their out of nowhere spectacle year where they
had
made
a chip on their shoulder, trying to show the world that they're real?
Yeah, but at this point, do you think they fall back into what we expected the expansion team to do last year?
honestly, kind of.
See, I'm on the opposite. I just don't see that happening.
That's what I'm expecting to happen. I'm expecting them just to fall back
See, I think they can
because I
think
know William Karlsson's not gonna have that year again.
that is probably a true
And
statement.
he was like the biggest name story to come out because he scored like
Well,
8
you
goals his whole career. Now he's got 50. Like, okay, let's see him do it again. So far, he hasn't.
So far nobody on that team really has. Jonathan Marchessault has a goal, and Pacioretty has a goal too. So it's not a lot of their players. Nobody on their team is scoring. So you can't really put it on just
one player.
Yeah, and it's also been 3 games.
Right, but it gets concerning the longer it goes on.
Yeah, we'll see them up close and personal in Pittsburgh come Thursday.
That should be
So it's always a big game whenever Fleury's back, and Fleury versus Fleury versus
boy.
DeSmith.
You can bet I'm going to wear my jersey.
That's right. You bought a jersey of Casey DeSmith.
Oh boy,
Hello.
man. And the
Is
Smith
there
might have a good chance of a W because
Considering Vegas
Vegas
can't find the
isn't
back of the
playing.
net.
Well, it's early in the season. Like we said, DeSmith is a very good backup, so he could go in there and play a very good game. He did last year against good teams at some
or it
points.
could be like the first time he got in net and he can get shelled.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Because then we'd definitely go to Jari, and they'd probably lose a lot of. Never mind. Mike Sullivan doesn't overreact too much, so DeSmith would probably be fine. Maybe starting the next game even.
So so before we continue with around the league, remember last year when DeSmith got the start against Boston and I tweeted about it?
Yes.
I refused to tweet about Casey other than retweets.
good.
Didn't you just tweet a
Retweet.
picture of him? It wasn't a retweet.
Oh,
you
you
just
did,
tweeted a
that's
picture
right.
of him.
Yeah, but it was with a quote from an anime. It wasn't actually about Casey.
Yeah, I was wondering what that quote was. I was so confused.
Okay. Well, are there anything that you guys have specifically seen from around the league outside of the Pittsburgh Penguins in the first couple of days, the first 6 days at this point of the regular season?
I know it's early, but the whole league should be scared of Toronto.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, should the whole league be scared of Toronto?
And think about it, they still don't have William Nylander. He is still in contract talks, kind of like a Le'Veon Bell situation.
No, it's not like Le'Veon Bell.
Well, it's
He
a better
just-
situation than Le'Veon
Yeah.
Bell because he's actually behaving in Sweden instead of not behaving in Miami.
But the of the top 5 scoring leaders
Again, 6 days in.
are in Toronto. With 8 points, though, Austin Matthews? Are you kidding me?
It also helps that John Tavares and scored a hat trick.
John Tavares is the other one.
And they also scored 7 goals that game. They scored how many in the first game? Probably they scored 3 in the first game, but they also scored a lot in the 3 and again. So they've had
and
a
they're
pretty
winning
good
right
season.
now. They started their game, and they're already up 1-0, I think.
Oh, they're playing Dallas, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been most impressed with, as we already talked about, the Buffalo Sabres.
Really?
Wow.
That's my initial reaction from the first few games.
Okay.
I'm impressed with the
I
Buffalo
mean, like, I'm not
Sabres.
most impressed with Toronto, but
I'm not-
it's just okay.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
I was not. Well, to be fair, I wasn't expecting them to win. Like, I never expected Buffalo to win a game this season.
Oh, I did.
Like,
I didn't expect
You have 2 high first round picks in Jack Eichel and Rasmus Dahlin. Plus, you have a good defensive player in Rasmus Ristolainen. And then you have a pretty good young core that they've had up there. Not to mention Carter Hutton getting a chance to do it.
And I didn't expect Ottawa to win that many, but I think I
yeah,
don't know what they've done.
They beat the Toronto Maple Leafs that you say you paid so much attention to, 5-3.
Oh
yeah, they did.
He just rebooted.
I'm like-
he just rebooted.
I love when I do that to people.
Who did they lose to? Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I love when I do that to people. Just pull out facts that you're like,
I'm still holding on to still be scared of Toronto for what they've been
they're
doing.
Yes, I would say Toronto is a very scary team, especially going into the playoffs this year. They're going to be very tough to compete with, and that's a good thing because we need teams like that to get deep in the playoffs to make this league look better.
Also, one goalie that I've been paying attention to just over the beginning of the season, I'm also impressed with, is Devin Dubnyk.
Because he's on your fantasy
team.
You're right. But he's looked good.
He has looked pretty good, but that
Minnesota
is,
always looks good in the regular season. Just
Yeah,
give
wait
it
till the
time,
playoffs.
my friend.
But that is going to do it for us this week on episode 4 of Point Park Pens Talk. We'll come back next week with a couple more games, as in 2 more games again, and hopefully some better news on Matt Murray. We'll be back next week from WPPJ Studios. I'm Nick Berlansky. This is Nick Horwat and Jordan Slobodansky. We'll see you guys next week.